Mayor Pete.
A warm Granite State welcome for Pete Buttigieg at the New Hampshire delegation's Monday breakfast in Chicago, where the Democratic National Convention will finalize the party's nominee transition from President Joe Biden to Vice President Kamala Harris.
I don't think a lot of us would have imagined that our party could coalesce in a matter of hours around a candidate, but that is what Kamala Harris has done in uniting our Democratic Party.
In a one-on-one interview, Buttigieg says no one has taken the switch in nominees harder than former President Donald Trump.
What you're seeing him doing is whatever's the most outrageous thing he can do to get attention, insulting everything from black journalists to war heroes who received the Congressional Medal of Honor. It's not a normal strategy for a politician, but it could be a strategy designed to not have to talk about his unpopular policies.
Buttigieg is slated to deliver his convention speech on Wednesday.
Really one of the best communicators in the Democratic Party. We were really lucky to have him here to help kick off our time here at the convention.
After a fight for the first in the nation primary, it's notable New Hampshire Democrats will be getting visits from several big names and rising stars at their events this week.
It's the place to be.
Again, President Joe Biden will take the stage at the United Center here tonight, finalizing this process, passing the torch, if you will, to Vice President Harris for the leadership of the Democratic Party as nominee. Now, as for the mood of voters right now, it's not too hot. New poll from St. Anselm College shows many aren't very happy. Just 28% of Granite Staters say the country is headed in the right direction. 62% say things are on the wrong track, although that figure was 68% 2 years ago this month. As far as which party could fix these problems, there is not much consensus. Asked how they would vote today, 45% say for Republicans, 48% say for Democrats. That makes the undecided 10% of people in New Hampshire, both parties working hard to win those votes of those folks in the middle who have not made up their minds. But that is a shrinking pie right now, Steve and Jen.
So, Adam, about the location you are, we've heard about extensive street closures in Chicago, heavy security for the protests outside the DNC. What have you seen so far? What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, one of the largest planned protests took place earlier at Union Park, just up the road from here. We actually walked past it ourselves. Thousands of demonstrators marching for a variety of issues. One of the main issues, though, is U.S. support for Israel and its war with Hamas. They're calling President Biden and Vice President Harris complicit in civilian deaths. So far this week, there have been a couple of arrests, but there is a heavy police presence, and many businesses around the United Center are boarded up. But what we can tell you from being here is, first, there is a small army of law enforcement here. They are everywhere, omnipresent, really, and also the amount of 12-foot fencing, really, and redundant security measures. If there were to be any kind of mass protest that was trying to get towards the convention, man, they would run into wall after wall after wall, and not just law enforcement, but physical walls as well. It is a remarkable amount of security here, Steve and Jen.